Welcome to NFL. Close your eyes and let the story begin. A crow sat upon the parapet, cawing incessantly. From the kitchen came the clatter of utensils, Zebby's chatter, Mehru's peals of laughter, Amy's earnest advice. Perhaps she has arranged something herself. With weary steps, she walked to the doorway. Leaning out, she looked into the lane. A group of boys was passing by. She called out to one of the polite-looking lads and pressed some money into his hand. 1 kilo of sweets. "All well, Kalajan?" he asked cheerfully. "Yes." Her eyes brimmed over once more. "Your Appa Mehru's match has been settled." Clang! Nearby, a metal plate crashed to the floor. It spun in circles, ringing sharply, until someone suddenly stifled the ominous noise, though not before it had disturbed the intoxicated sleep of the bride of 3 days. Her eyes flew open with a start. Her heart pounded violently, and a shiver ran through her entire body. In the next moment, she muttered curses under her breath at the dreadful, hideous sound and turned over again, determined to return to sleep. A few moments passed. Outside came the sounds of bustling and movement. Her eyes snapped open again. She blinked several times, then leapt off the bed, slipped into her slippers, grabbed her dupatta, and hurried out. The day had brightened beautifully. Her mother's warnings, admonitions, and carefully rehearsed instructions all came rushing back to her mind. Voices were coming from the kitchen. Hesitantly, she peered inside. The groom of the 3rd day, wearing nothing but trousers and a vest, stood there, hands covered in flour, somewhat sheepish. He had apparently decided to prepare breakfast himself for his bride. "Well, she stammered, fumbling awkwardly. She twisted her fingers together, unsure how to express her embarrassment. "No, it's not like this every day. It just happened today." The explanations came hurriedly from the other side. The tea was boiling over on the stove. A broken egg lay splattered on the floor. Flour, dry and wet, was scattered everywhere. The sugar and tea tins stood open. Oh, she exclaimed, quickly turning off the stove, though a little tea splashed onto her hand. "Ow!" He doubled over, clutching his hand. At that moment, her patience snapped. Her gold bangle might get soiled by the stove. She removed it and handed it to her husband. The embroidered dupatta she draped over his shoulder. Twisting her braid into a quick bun, she washed her hands and face, rolled up the sleeves of her camise, and set to work. Elder brother peeked into the kitchen. There stood the husband, draped in a crimson veil. And the bride, her delicate henna'd hands moving swiftly, was rolling out parathas. On the other stove, an omelet sizzled. He tried to make sense of the scene, but failed. However, the delicious aroma of the omelet was unmistakable. With that comforting thought, he headed off to bathe. "Where did breakfast usually come from?" Mehru asked later while eating. "Tea from Papu's hotel, with rusks or bread, sometimes an egg in some form, made by Bai himself." "What? Then what about the kebabs, parathas, and butter we've been eating for breakfast these past 2 days? And the pulao and meat at lunch?" "Oh, that?" He laughed at her astonishment. The neighbor, Kala B, had been given some money to sew wedding clothes. A little remained. She said, "It will help with meals for a few days. Surely you won't put the bride to work the moment she arrives." I had no objection at all. I agreed immediately. Besides, I always thought you were terribly lazy. Amma B used to scold you all day long. Mehru took offense. "Oh, that was just mother's habit. In truth, she had taught us all the household work thoroughly. I began managing the home at such a young age. Yes, there were some tasks I disliked. Mother insisted on those very ones, and I refused to do them. I won't do them in the future either, so don't expect it." Such boldness, issuing a warning ahead of time. Maruf Hassan merely lowered his head and smiled.
The wedding holidays ended. Maruf Hassan, dressed in a brand new suit, went to the office to receive congratulations. Meanwhile, Mehru decided to tidy the house. It was a small house, 4 rooms, a kitchen, and a bathroom. Recently whitewashed, it gleamed in the daylight. At night, a faint wash of moonlight preserved its brightness. 2 rooms were filled with her dowry, one a bedroom, the other a drawing room. The 3rd room held old junk, and the 4th bore a large lock. That room belonged to elder brother. Maruf Hassan had explained carefully before leaving. Under no circumstances touch that room. Elder brother is a fiery man. If you make such a mistake, he'll turn heaven and earth upside down and throw both of us out of the house. Consider that room beyond the borders of your kingdom. How much of that was truth and how much exaggeration, who knew? But Mehru truly left that room untouched and polished the rest of the house until it shone like glass. She took vases out of her dowry trunks and arranged them on the tables. Artificial flower garlands brightened the white walls. Lace curtains fluttered in the doorways. Ah, the peace of one's own home, freedom, independence. There was a special joy in working like this. After bathing, she shook her wet hair dry with a towel, set aside her dupatta, and went into the kitchen. Food had to be arranged as well. Lost in her own rhythm, she opened the cupboard. What? In the next moment, her heart sank. No lentils, no grain. A few empty tins, some utensils, and no. Hunger seemed to intensify. She searched around. No pickles, no chutney, no milk or yogurt. Sugar and tea leaves, at least, were there. The flour tin was empty. No ghee either. Heaven knew from what borrowed flour those morning parathas had been made. Silently, she returned to the room and sat down, stunned. 1 hour passed, then 2, then 2.5. Restlessly, she stood up again, climbed onto a stool, and peered over the wall. The courtyard next door was silent. Should I call someone? Ask for help? The thought came, but shame held her back. What will people think? A new bride hanging over the wall asking for bread and water. Helpless, she returned and collapsed on the bed, trying to sleep. But sleep would not come. Every little sound outside startled her. At times, she imagined Maruf Hassan humming somewhere nearby. At times, when she almost drifted off, her mother's voice thundered in her ears. "Oh, Maruf Hassan, what crime had I committed that you are starving me like this?" She turned restlessly from side to side. "Oh God, if only I had a mother-in-law, sisters-in-law, brothers-in-law, a bustling household. Then I would not be reduced to fasting like this. Something to eat could always be found in some corner." Her eyes filled with tears. "Oh God, I'm not so young that I should die of hunger. Maruf Hassan, may God hold you accountable." The sun was setting. To her, it seemed as though the sun of her life, too, was sinking toward the horizon. Whistling a playful tune, eyes sparkling, Maruf Hassan entered the house. Today the distance from office to home seemed endless, though he had been eager to return quickly. That shy, delicate girl, his bashful bride, must be waiting for him. What brightness the house would have now! A deserted garden turned to spring, wild tulips blooming. Vivid images danced through his mind. But when he stepped inside, the scene was quite different. Instead of a house glittering with light and laughter, a weak 60-watt bulb struggled to illuminate the corners of the veranda. The courtyard lay in darkness. The rooms were pitch black. An eerie silence prevailed. No bashful bride appeared, no fluttering presence. Oh God, what calamity has struck? His heart lurched. He rushed to switch on the light in the room. Empty. A strange dread seized him. "Mehru?" he called anxiously. In reply came the faint sound of sobbing. "Mehru, Mayru! He cried, turning back hurriedly. His knee struck a stool, his toe banged against the open door. Finally, he reached the kitchen. Leaning against the wall, seated on the floor, she was weeping continuously. Mayru, Mayru, what happened? Why are you sitting like this? Is everything all right? For heaven's sake, say something. What kind of spectacle is this? His worry rose along with his anger. He grabbed her by the arms and shook her. She snapped back sharply. Your Mayru is dead! In what hell did you leave me? What hell? What do you mean? Are you in your senses? Senses? I don't even know how I survived the day. Since morning, nothing but water. Oh, God! Her voice broke into hiccuping sobs. Oh, no. Maruf Hassan was stunned. For a moment, he felt like smashing his head against the wall. How could he explain? For years, this had been the routine here. No one ever cooked at home. And who would cook for? Elder brother was always traveling, home only a few days a year. Tea, biscuits, coffee, that was his lunch and dinner. Occasionally some biryani or burgers from the bazaar. And he himself? Always careless about food. Morning tea from the hotel, lunch from the office canteen. At night, perhaps a piece of fruit from his pocket, or simply water. He had never imagined that a flower-like princess might also need to eat. Oh, poor Mayru. At her mother's house, she must have lived comfortably. Chutney, salad, fresh vegetables. Accepting his fault, he gently took her hand, helped her up, gave her water, and seated her in the room. I'll be back in a moment. He hurried out. Half an hour later, he returned with a large shopping bag. As compensation, he did everything himself. He brought ice for the cooler and placed cups of ice cream inside it. Plates, spoons, glasses, water. Mayru sat cross-legged on the bed, her eyes swollen, face puffed from crying. Hot naan, chicken handi, raita, salad, kebabs. She began eating as someone famished since birth. Once her stomach was full, her tongue found its voice. You did this. You did that. I will never forgive you. Tyrant, forgetful, heartless, and many more accusations besides. Maruf Hassan only laughed sheepishly, nodding in agreement. Accepted, agreed, thank you. After the meal, they enjoyed ice cream. Then Maruf Hassan decided to sleep. Mayru performed ablution and stood upon the prayer mat. With a full heart, she thanked God. So what if I was hungry all day? Such delicious food in the end. Thank you, my Lord. She prayed fervently. Then she returned and woke Maruf Hassan, asking forgiveness for her sharp tongue. Foolish girl, he murmured with sleepy eyes, smiling so sweetly. Mayru lay awake watching him for a long time. Then she lay down beside him. The full moon shone brightly in the sky. A deep, peaceful sleep enveloped Mayru. Oh my goodness, what is all this? Her eyes widened in astonishment. Lentils, vegetables, meat, milk, rice, and all sorts of spices. Rufi Bai said from today the stove will burn in this house. Send the supplies, said a young boy, staring curiously at her henna'd hands as he handed her the bill and the remaining change. Oh dear, so much, she murmured. After he left, she stood thinking. Where will I keep all this? How will I manage it? She poured lentils into jars and arranged the rice and other items. 2 or 2.5 kilos of milk, meat, fresh vegetables. He could at least have asked me. I would have made a list. What do 2 people need? He must have spent 1,000 or 1,500 rupees. For a moment, she thought of storing the perishables in a neighbor's refrigerator. Then a new idea occurred to her. She called out to Kala B over the wall. I've been here for so many days. No lady has come to meet me yet. Please invite a few of the nearby houses." "What? Why would you invite them? They will invite you." "Oh no, please. I've already arranged everything. Do me this kindness." Kala B nodded reluctantly. No one to guide her. Such youthful foolishness, wasting her husband's money, she muttered to herself. That evening, Maruf Hassan entered the house in his usual cheerful mood. Then he stopped short. "So many people in our house?" He looked around in bewilderment. Amid the gathering of women, he spotted Mehru. Dressed in a light lavender outfit, she looked radiant. Several women turned to look at him at once. Embarrassed, he slipped outside again. He spent some time sitting at the hotel across the street. When the women finally left, he returned home. An elderly widow from the neighborhood was washing the dishes. A young girl was sweeping. Mehru sat in a chair, playing with her bangles. "Mehru, what is all this?" His tone was very serious. For a moment, her heart trembled. "Perhaps I made a mistake. Well, actually, I was afraid the food would spoil. And anyway, I thought, if we are to live here, we should build some relationships."
"Come here for a moment," he said sternly, walking into the room. Mehru's heart pounded. "Look, I didn't really spend much money." She entered nervously behind him, when he suddenly grabbed her wrist. "Why have you never worn this lavender color before? You look absolutely devastating in it." "What? Lavender?" She looked at his face. His eyes sparkled mischievously. "You actor," she scolded, then burst into laughter. "I wear lavender often. Today I'm wearing green." "Same thing," Maruf said with a shrug.